time with family, staying active, doing what you love. We understand how important it is to live your best life, even as times are changing. At Holzer, we strive to help every patient achieve their best health during every stage of life. With more options for care through in-person and virtual visits, we are dedicated to providing you with excellent care every time. Live your best life with Holzer.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the morning show right here on Main Street TV. Of course, Jennifer here to start off your morning with a very special guest. And as you may have guessed from our previous commercial there, we have a fun friend from Holzer.
Morning.
Welcome. We're happy to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so first off, tell everybody who you are.
So my name is Fu Lee. I'm a neurologist at Holzer. Recently moved here from Buffalo, New York. Loving it around here.
So we were laughing because before the show we were talking and I said, oh, you came here from Buffalo, New York. That had to be quite culture shock.
It's definitely different, but I feel like the vibe is a lot. It's very peaceful. It's very relaxing around here.
That I will say. And he confessed that he bought a farm.
I'm not a very good farmer. You know, really the only thing I could do is keep the lawn mowed.
You're a good grass mower, huh?
I am.
That's about all the farming that I do as well. So don't feel bad. And I've lived here all my life. So Dr. Lee, you actually, I guess let's go back, and you are a neurologist.
That is correct.
Okay, and you actually went to school in Buffalo, right?
So school-wise, I went to Ross University School of Medicine, but I did my training at University of Buffalo.
Oh, okay. All right. And then, so how much schooling is involved to be a neurologist? My goodness.
So it's the typical 4 years of medical school and then 4 years for training to be a neurologist.
So what made you want to be a neurologist?
It's hard to say. I just really enjoy neurology. I just love learning about the nervous system.
You know, and I think a lot of the docs that we've had here on the program went into medical school with maybe an idea of what they wanted to do or maybe not, but ended up just in a rotation or something and then fell in love with a certain thing. Is that what happened to you, or did you know that that's what you wanted to do?
I think as soon as I started medical school, I was like, I'm going to be a neurologist.
Really?
It's hard to say why, but I just knew from the, kind of like in my heart, that's what's going to be fun and that's what I'm going to do.
It's in your gut, huh?
Yeah.
I got you. So, I mean, the good thing is with neurology, I've never needed one because most people will say I don't have a brain, but I'm sure you hear that joke a lot. Well, hi, Marla's here.
Good morning.
Good morning, Marla. Okay. We have to pose for pictures when Marla comes in.
All right.
So, have you found anybody yet that doesn't have a brain?
I don't think so. I think a lot of people are very smart.
He's so kind. All right. So neurology is, I guess I know that's kind of, what is the definition of neurology?
Neurology is, or rather a neurologist is someone who's kind of focuses on the brain and the nervous system. And that can be, that can be like the nerve that goes to your arms or leg or to your back, anything related to that. We study that and we try to treat the problems associated with that.
Okay. So it's not just something, it doesn't have to be like.
No, it doesn't have to be just the brain.
In your brain.
Yeah.
It may be associated with that, but it could be a symptom of somewhere else in your body. So what would be the main things? So I'm really not familiar with neurology. As I said, it's, questionable whether there's anything up there or not. So what would be some of the symptoms or the things wrong with someone that they would come and see you?
So common situation that I see patient for is headache, which is very common. This it's predominant. It has a a lot of people have suffer a migraine at least sometime in their life. And some people unfortunately have it more often than others, so I
Uh-huh.
treat that. Um, then I deal with other aspects as well. You know, if you have like numbness or tingling in your arms or legs, those are kind of considered neuropathy wise or injury to the nerves. And then other part of neurology that I deal with includes, working with seizure, working with dizziness,
Oh,
working with stroke.
okay. That makes a lot of sense. So, the migraine thing, I have to admit, I don't know that I've ever had a migraine. I assume if I have, I would have known about it because I know they're really nasty.
Uh huh.
But I have a friend who, unfortunately, she's a teacher, but she's not even able to work because they were so, and they've never been able to get them that much under control to where she could work. And I just have always felt so sorry for her because what on earth causes things like that?
The kind of like the underlying idea of a headache or a migraine is that you have increased sensitivity to the nervous system and the way you process information around your head and shoulder.
Okay.
And so we have medication, a variety of medication we can try to kind of break this cycle, and makes the patient feel comfortable so that they can, go about their daily activities.
What makes some people prone to them and others not?
So the science for that is, there's been a lot of science to that. We really don't have a clear idea as to why some people are more prone to headache versus others. What we do know is that patients who have headaches are more likely to have a family history of headache. So there
Okay.
is some genetic basis to it. Um, we the good thing is that we do have a lot of treatment that can help a lot of people for headache.
Okay. All right. And whether, I mean, there would have to be a lot of things, obviously medication, but
Mhm.
what would be, exercise maybe? I mean, stretching, what would be some of the other things?
Some of the other things beside just taking a medication is Botox has been shown to work.
I have heard that.
Yeah. Besides just for cosmetic reasons, it does
Get
have
rid of
an
the
effect.
wrinkles in your forehead and your migraines all at the same time.
And so it does help in terms of calming down the nerves and the sensitivities. There's other stimulation as well, devices that you could wear that reportedly some patient have good response to that. So it's not a medication; it's more of a stimulation.
Okay.
And definitely exercise and kind of adjusting your daily habit in terms of how you sleep. A common cause in a fair amount of patient is sleep apnea. So when you don't have a good night's sleep because you're having a hard time getting enough oxygen when you breathe at night, it can contribute to headache
Oh.
during the daytime, make you more tired, and your memory not as good.
Okay. So how the heck, when someone comes in to see you and I know we're just talking about headaches right now, but how do you even start to try to figure out the cause of that?
As far as the cause of headache, it's really just listening to the patient,
Mhm.
and just because really the person who knows what's going on the best is really the patient because they live
Makes
with it.
sense.
They live with it, and so that's really how we go about it. And by doing that and being able to try some medication and see what works and what doesn't, give us more clue about what in terms of the headache are we looking at and how to better treat that headache.
Okay. So you just need to, maybe think about your life and your lifestyle. And I know, for example, my husband started having a lot of headaches and whatnot. And so we were talking with a massage therapist friend, and she recommended a pillow because he kept he kept sleeping on his stomach, and it was just like I don't know what he was doing, but
Oh,
anyway.
okay.
So this pillow kind of makes you like either lie on your back or just be
Uh-huh.
able to do this, and so that's really helped. So it could just be weird things like that too.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah. All right. So obviously with the head there are, I guess, many other things that you would see a patient for. I guess stroke would be one.
Hmm.
Um, does somebody need an appointment to come and see you, or not an appointment, a referral, or how does somebody end up with you?
So oftentimes the way a patient ends up with me is through a referral to their primary doctor.
Okay.
I prefer this way because it's more organized. You have
Sure.
somebody you can reach out to, and you know, if you have a problem, it's nice to be able to have someone to discuss that. And maybe a neurologist might not be someone you want to see, versus a
Sure.
rheumatologist or an orthopedics. And so having that kind of context from the primary before a patient sees me is very helpful. But I have seen patient on a case by case basis without a referral from the primary.
Well, and I would think the primary would have done some of the base diagnostic testing as well. So
That
then,
is true. That is true.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about some of the other things that you would see a patient for.
So seizures, it's relatively common. You can have seizure for multiple reasons: brain injury, stroke, or you were born with some genetic problem that led to increased frequency of seizure or risk for seizure.
Is seizure one of the things kind of like migraines where they don't really know why some people do and some people don't have seizures, or?
Seizure is a little bit more well known than headache.
Okay.
We do know that seizure is related to kind of an abnormal electrical activity inside the brain itself.
Okay.
And so there's a lot of medication to try to kind of prevent that from occurring so that patient can, live their normal lives.
Well, because I would think the seizure disorders, if you don't know, if you can't get them under control, I mean, it would control your life.
It would. It would. I mean, with seizure, you can have a variety of things. You can have like a grand mal, as some people describe it, or loss of consciousness, and that can be problematic if you're operating a machinery or you're swimming or something like that.
Sure, driving, yeah. That would be really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you hear about those cases, and that's very sad.
Yeah.
And just losing the loss of your driver's license or something like that makes you dependent on others, and
definitely
that's not good quality of life.
Mm-hmm.
So someone like you can hopefully help a lot of folks that way.
Yeah.
That has to be very rewarding.
I think it is. A lot of it is rewarding. Seizure, when you have it under control, and the patient being able to do whatever they want to do.
Yes.
That's fantastic to see.
Okay. And I know I had something happen to me, and it's only happened to me one time in my life, and I was sitting right here when it happened, and I asked my eye doctor about it because I was sitting here and I was doing the morning show, and all of a sudden, like, everything just went black. And he said that he thought that was some sort of, and it came back after like 10 seconds.
Okay.
And he said he thought that might have been some type of migraine. He had a name for it. And I can't remember what he said now. And he said, "You didn't call me?" And I said, "Well, no, I could see after like 10 seconds. It was fine." But it's never happened since.
Good.
But what the heck?
Headache itself is kind of bizarre. And, it's been shown that sometimes you have also a kind of like an associated abnormal activity, and depending on where it happens, it can cause vision changes, or it can affect the way you talk. It makes it harder for you to talk. Sometimes it looks like a stroke.
Right.
Yeah. And so being able to see a neurologist to kind of ease your worries, because if you're not sure what's going on, and kind of being able to get that checked out is feel like
because I think some, and I'm glad you said that, I think some of the migraine symptoms do kind of mimic stroke symptoms.
Definitely.
Even what would be some of the others, like even like not being able to walk straight or whatever? Would that be something else?
Definitely. Some patient can have very severe dizziness, nausea, difficulty walking. In those scenarios, it requires a little bit more in-depth history taking, physical examination, and maybe some imaging to rule out. Because when it comes to headache, there's the idea of you had somebody just having a headache versus a headache secondary to something else.
It's like what came first, the chicken or the egg?
That's correct.
Does the headache come first, or does the headache cause something else? Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so let's talk for a minute about epilepsy.
Okay.
That's a disorder that some folks have, and we talked about seizures, but are seizures the only sign of epilepsy?
So the term epilepsy means someone who has epilepsy or prone to have seizure. The distinction between the term seizure and epilepsy is that someone with epilepsy should be on medication.
Okay.
You don't have to be on a medication when you have a seizure for the first time, because depending on what's the chance of you having a seizure again. So whenever we do medication in medicine, it's always the risk and benefit. And if you have epilepsy, your risk for seizure is very high. So you would benefit from medication for a prolonged period of time, depending on how you respond.
That makes sense. So kind of a longer diagnosis. Okay. All right. So, let's get back to the Botox for a minute. In the migraines. What number one, Botox, you hear about it for your wrinkles and all of that stuff, but actually it's used a lot in medicine, I think, for other things. How does Botox work?
Botox is a toxin, and when it's injected,
which is so counterintuitive, right?
That's the science of medicine is very interesting. When you take a look at all the toxin that people use to try to use as medications.
Okay.
And Botox is one of that example, one of the more successful example. And essentially, what happens in Botox is you give a toxin, and it stays local. It doesn't really. The toxin is big enough that it doesn't really get absorbed into the bloodstream, so it picks up by the nerve.
So it just stays put.
Yeah, it stays kind of put wherever you get injected.
Okay.
And then it gets into the nerve, and then the nerve makes it harder for the nerve to keep on firing because you have an increase in sensitivity, and kind of calm the nerve down and break the cycle of headache.
That makes total sense. So it would be the same in your forehead or your laugh lines or whatever, which a lot of you hear about it for cosmetic reasons as well. So what are some of the other reasons people use Botox as a medication?
Botox, other use for that includes if you have a form of dystonia. Dystonia is when you have essentially a muscle that just acts on its own. It just kind of stiffen up and it just kind of stays in that way. You can't really relax it. Or some patients have problem in terms of like where their eyes just close on them and it's hard for them to open them again. It's called blepharospasm, and you can do for that.
Okay.
All this, the goal is to kind of, prevent overstimulation of the muscle and relaxation of the muscles.
Okay. So how does Botox work to try to, curb the headaches or the migraines? Like where would you inject that, or is it different for every patient?
So the common routine for Botox is actually 31 injections, and it goes around the forehead, kind of like around the brows, around the temples.
Oh, so you get some of that cosmetic too?
You do get the cosmetic.
Yay!
So it does help with the wrinkling in the forehead.
I like that.
But the goal is just to calm everything down in the head and kind of relax the nerve and muscles.
Okay. Well, and I don't think a lot of people, this would be fun for you to talk about for a moment. You go to get your hair done or you go to get a massage or something, and everybody loves to have their head like massaged or rubbed. And there are so many muscles in your head. That's why, right?
That's correct.
So how on earth, why is it that our muscles around our head get so tense that they need like help?
So,
I mean, you don't feel like you do anything with your head,
I feel like, this, because with the face, we make so many facial expression, and you need a lot of those muscles to make those facial expression. and how it comes into play
Makes
and what
sense.
causes this oversensitivity in the nerves, around the head is there's still a lot of research being done on that,
Uh-huh.
and the medication only get better over time. It's more sensitive. It works better. It's more specific. It's more targeted with less side effects. So the field of headache, as it's going now, is exciting because they have a lot of therapy coming out.
That's good. We like that. Getting better as you go,
Good.
huh?
Mhm.
All right. So what would be some of the other things that you would see? I know they mentioned when we were talking nervous system problems. What does that mean exactly?
So the nervous system essentially includes the brain, the spinal cord, and all the nerves that come out of the spinal cord. This supplies, the muscles to the arm and leg, and the sensory in the arms and leg and body that goes back. So some stuff, a common issue that I see for something called neuropathy, which is essentially an injury to the nerve in your hands or feet. Um, you know, it's not uncommon for a patient with diabetes to start having issue with their nerves.
That's what I was going to ask you because
Mhm.
that's where I've heard that word
Yeah.
is with diabetic patients, neuropathy. What makes diabetic patients more prone to that?
So one of the thought process related to that is when you have poorly controlled sugar, it causes changes in the way blood flows in the blood vessels, and the smaller the blood vessel is, the more prone it is to get injured. And the longer the nerve is, the further away it is from the core of the body, the more likely it is to get injured as the body changes over time. Um,
Uh-huh. Is that why people with diabetes, you hear about them losing toes or because it's the farthest thing away from,
that's correct.
so it doesn't heal as well?
That's correct. Once you
Okay.
stop feeling in the leg, that also affects kind of like the local supplies, blood supplies in and out the leg, and so they're more prone to infection. They don't feel it when they do have like a prick or something
That makes sense.
or an injury. And so being able to work that up and make sure that it's not something else besides just diabetes. There's other causes for that.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes in certain patient, it might be related to the fact that they have a certain amount of protein that sometimes get deposited into the nerve and causes injury to the nerve.
Okay.
Can cause that. So we always work that up.
Well, that makes sense. I see you told us all something we don't know.
Good.
How do you know all this stuff?
Training. Training.
I guess. Seems like a lot.
It's fun. It's fun to read about. It's always fun to learn more and see how the field evolves over time.
Mm-hmm. So, do you actually do surgeries as well?
I don't do surgery. Surgery, when it comes to neurology, would be a neurosurgeon.
Okay,
That's
so
correct.
there's neurologist and then the neurosurgeon that you would refer someone on if they would need something
That's
like
correct.
that. Okay, that's a whole other ball of wax, isn't it? That's funny. What was I good? There was one other thing I was going to ask you about neurology. Oh, I know. Where does like the head stop and like the spine begin? Like what doctor, how do you know if someone, say for example, has like maybe a neck injury or something,
Mm-hmm.
do they see you or do they see someone else? Or how do you know who they need to go see?
So that question really it's hard to tell. It's based on the patient's symptoms.
Okay.
Usually, when they see me, that's part of my job is to see whether am I the right person for them to be seeing versus a chiropractor or an orthopedic or a neurosurgeon or something like that.
Because I feel like all of that stuff could be so closely
That's
tied
correct.
together.
It's there's a lot of tissue, there's a lot of nerves coming out from the back, and it's a complicated part of the body because it supports so much of the body and kind of like the stability of the body.
Yeah. Our brains and our spines, I don't know about that. Seems like a very complicated system.
Well, luckily there's a lot of people around to be able to provide some answers for that.
Yeah, like you. We appreciate that. So, it says here, are you originally from Louisiana?
That's correct. So I was born in Vietnam, but I really grew up in Louisiana. Went to elementary, middle, high school, college.
How on the earth did you end up from Vietnam to Louisiana?
That I don't know. We just ended up there. Um, it's it's the weather. The weather in Louisiana is really not that much different than Vietnam.
I would
in
say it
terms of
would.
the in terms of the heat and humidity and everything like that.
Mhm.
But humidity is just a little too much for me now.
As we get older, it becomes less fun, doesn't
Uh-huh.
it? So then, okay, so you went from Louisiana then to where?
Then to Buffalo is where I trained.
So you did go all the way to Buffalo.
That's correct.
How in the heck did you end up from Louisiana to Buffalo?
I wanted to go up north. I'm always curious, like what goes on. I do like Buffalo. It's just too much snow.
You needed to find somewhere in between, didn't you?
Yeah, and this is kind of like the Goldilocks area. Just you get 4 seasons, you get some snow. I do like the snow, but not shoveling it every day would be nice.
Yeah, and not like 2 feet of it
That's
when
correct.
you get it. So what is Buffalo like, just out of curiosity? I've never been. I've been to New York City. I've been, there, but I haven't been. Is it more city, more rural?
It's more urban.
More urban, okay.
This
More like Columbus or something
that's
like that?
correct. It would be more like Columbus. It's a nice place. There's a lot of friendly people. Unfortunately, the winter time, I would have to say, it goes anywhere from 5 to 6 months, really.
Oh.
I think the year before we still had snow like up to May.
No, thank you. It's pretty for a minute, but then it needs to go away.
That's correct.
That's the good news about living here. How long have you lived here?
I've lived here. I moved officially really in June.
Okay.
And I really like it here. I can't wait for the fall to see the foliage change.
Oh, it's so pretty. You're in for a treat. Hopefully, unless we have some crazy weather and it just knocks all the leaves off the tree or something. But the good news is around here, when it snows, it's gone in like a day or two.
Mhm.
So it just goes away.
Yeah,
Just to let you know.
I was here when we had the ice storm.
Oh,
Briefly for like a
goodness.
week. Really, I thought that wasn't much. It was manageable. Didn't have any issue.
Listen, nothing would be like Buffalo, so I can understand that. So what are some of the other things that you would like our viewers to know of what you do in your practice?
Currently, I see if you have a question that, if you think you have a nerve issue, I would always recommend talk to your medicine doctor about it,
Mm-hmm.
and then get a referral to see me, and we can always work that up, see
Okay.
if it is nerve related or not. It's a new practice, so it's currently being built up. I'm getting credentialing for other for other procedures later down the road. And it's really kind of getting a gauge for what the community needs and wants.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So in the neurology field, how has it changed over the past, say 10 years?
The field itself, it's really broken down such that you have different specialties now, kind of like stroke and epilepsy, and people
Okay.
go into that. And because people specialize in that, you get like an abundance of literature that comes out of that. So that really helps propel the field forward. And it has grown in popularity somewhat, with the medical students. And there's been more interest in it now than it used to be. It is a hard field because it's very anatomy based. There's a lot of neuroscience involved, but it's an exciting field.
Mm-hmm. Seems like there would just be things that you could find out every day.
That's correct.
Yeah. Good. All right. Well, anything else you wanted to let our viewers know before I let you get out of here and get back to work?
No, I think we cover a lot. Hopefully.
Got to make sure that you got to go back and make sure that we in Southern Ohio and Appalachia have brains in our heads, right?
I think from talking to a lot of people, and a lot of people are friendly and they're funny too. So you definitely need a good brain to have good jokes.
Hey, there you go. Thanks. No, the one thing I'll let you know, and this is bragging about our area, but I do think that you will find, as you just said, that people are very kind and helpful.
Yeah.
So welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be here.
So are you seeing patients just in Jackson, or where all are you seeing patients?
I see mostly patient in Jackson, but I also see patient in Gallipolis.
Okay.
Those are the two main areas right now.
And in Jackson, are you at the hospital location or the clinic location?
I'm at the hospital location.
Okay. All right. So that way people know where to find you.
Okay.
Gets a little confusing sometimes. You don't know which place to go to.
I'm sure.
Just yell, Dr. Lee, find you. All right. And if anyone needs to schedule an appointment or wants to have a referral, you don't necessarily have, if your family doctor doesn't necessarily have to be from Holzer.
That's correct.
To be referred to you. So if you are seeing your family doctor and you think you may have some issues, come see this fine man. He'll take good care of you.
Definitely.
That's right. And of course, you can always call 1-855-4-HOLZER. There you go. Look at your picture. You look so handsome.
Thank you.
But yeah, so there's all the information there, and you can, of course, call Dr. Lee or have your doctor call Dr. Lee and schedule an appointment. And you are accepting new patients.
I am.
Okay, very good. All right, well, I don't let anyone get out of here.
Can I throw a couple Facebook questions at
you
before you get out of here?
Yeah, sure.
So Rick Sims asks, could vertigo and lower back pain be related?
Oh, good question.
So vertigo is a sense of dizziness or spinning sensation when you and it there's a fair separation between the back and whenever we think of vertigo, kind of the workup for me is that it more toward the brain area, the brain stem and brain. But depending on kind of like how the back get affected and kind of the pain, and the nervous system is complex in that way, because when one part of the body is affected, it can affect the other part of the body. So it really depends on the scenario and the workup that's been done so far.
A lot of people suffer from vertigo, I hear. That seems horrible.
And being able to see a neurologist for that, because what I do is my kind of like my responsibility is to look into whether it's from the brain or the brainstem, or is it coming from the ear, right? Because if you have ear issues, you can definitely have vertigo too.
And that's a whole other doctor, right?
That's a whole nother doctor.
So you have to decide whether you keep them or send them on to
correct.
the ENT person, right?
Whoever is best for the patient.
Okay. All right. And did we have another question?
No, that was the big one.
Okay. Very good. All right. Well, what is your favorite part of working at Holzer?
Working at Holzer, I feel like it's a relaxed environment. Everything runs pretty smoothly. And we get along very well at the clinic, so I like that.
Very good. That's important, isn't it?
It is.
And I hear that a lot. Everybody's nice. Here we go again. We're all nice here. I'll bet in Buffalo, New York, you don't pass someone on the street and everybody says hi to you.
No, that's definitely not the case.
It's so funny, like you go up to Columbus even or something, and here you pass someone on the street, you immediately say hello or how you doing or whatever. You say that in Columbus and they run from you. They think you're gonna rob them or something. So it's okay. You can say hi to people here.
Great.
Just so you know. Now you know.
Now I know.
Can I ask a question about Buffalo?
When
you were living there, did you ever go to a Bill's tailgate party?
Ooh, good question.
I didn't go to any of the tailgate party. I went to a lot of the food scenery. It might make some people upset, but I'm not a big football fan.
No, I'm just kidding. You might want to keep that to yourself here in this area. Just say go Buckeyes. You'll be fine.
I'll do that.
All right. Well, very good. We know that you're very, very busy and need to get back to work. So we appreciate you taking time out of your day to spend with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And do you promise if anything exciting comes up, you'll come back and see us?
I'll do that.
All right. And maybe I'll see you at the restaurant too.
Great. Thank you.
Very good. All right. Well, we'll let you get out of here. And don't forget to see Dr. Lee if you are in need of his services. All right, let's head on over to your Total Media Radio weather forecast. Oh, bye, Jen and Marla, too. See, they never want to be on the show with me. I don't understand it. So, all right, Total Media Radio weather forecast. It is hot, and look at that, not getting out of the 90s all the way through the weekend. Mostly sunny, partly cloudy every day. I would just say highs in the low to mid 90s, and that's what we've got for the next, well, as you can see, it's all the way through Sunday. So there you go. That's our weather forecast. Not very exciting. So yeah, thanks to Dr. Lee for coming over, and we appreciate it very, very much. My mother, I promised her, James is my witness. I said this.
She paid for this advertising, right?
I don't know.
Family discount?
I think she got the family discount. Actually, it's for a good cause, so we'll go with
community service.
It is.
Okay.
But this is a big deal, though, because they're having a rummage sale at the Faith Lutheran Church. That's the Lutheran Church on Huron Street here in Jackson. Hey, Huron's newly paved.
It sure is. It's a racetrack.
Yes, your car, you can get there real fast.
Huron Speedway.
It's the Huron drag strip.
Yeah.
But no, they are having a rummage sale, and it's Saturday. Is this Saturday the 28th? Yes. This coming Saturday, August 28th, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., 11 a.m. until they're gone. You can get a hot dog, chips, and a drink for a $2 donation.
That's a good deal.
It is. Maybe I should hold my hot dog story.
Yeah, just don't tell that.
No,
yeah,
I'm
your
probably
other
not.
story.
I'm going to hold my hot dog story till tomorrow then. But no, they're having, and Mom was telling me she and a lot of the other folks have just been cleaning out their furniture. I mean, all kind of good stuff. Clothing and shoes, many sizes, blankets, quilts, drapes, curtains, miscellaneous household items and kitchen tools, art and seasonal decor, lots of knickknacks, home and office furniture, and they even have some old push mowers and things like that.
Man.
So, yeah.
Does the push mower come with the kid to push it?
Oh, that would be fantastic.
You gotta buy that separate.
Yeah, you would need to buy the kids separate. But yes, that is this coming Saturday, Faith Lutheran Church, August 28th, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And that is on Huron Street here in Jackson. You can't miss it. And they have this rummage sale every year. And the good news about it is all of and it doesn't say this on here, but I know that they use all of the money to help others.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't keep it. It goes to buy things to help others. So
Great.
That's important.
And what time is it?
That is 10 a.m. to 6
10
p.m.
a.m. 6 p.m. Okay, all day.
You have all day. But I would
Deal.
get there early because you know how people
those
are.
old push mowers are going to go fast.
and there's probably not as many kids as there are push mowers to buy.
True.
So
The kids are all back in school now.
Drat.
You might have to push it yourself.
Unless it's on a Saturday or something. Also got a message from the city of Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
And as we just mentioned, the temperatures are going to be in the mid-90s to lower 90s all week long. So the city of Jackson, electric customers are being asked to conserve power. They're saying loads on Wednesday, August 25th, that's tomorrow, are expected to be well past the year-to-date peak. Because of this, as well as how late it is in the peak shaving season, I don't know what that means. Basically, they want you to conserve electricity because of high transmission prices.
So if you're not home, turn your lights out.
Yeah, just turn all your stuff off.
down.
That's the thing. When you leave your house, turn your air up to 75 or whatever. If you don't like it, to be. It's when you come in, you're not going to die or anything, and then you can turn it back down a couple of degrees or whatever. But Also, shut off all your lights when not needed. They are some of the other things you can do, and I guess I didn't think about this, like small appliances, even like your hair dryers.
Unplug things,
Yeah, unplug that. Unplug your electric chargers, like your phone chargers and like battery chargers, stuff like that. Also, they say if you could do other laundry, other household chores at kind of like weird hours, that helps out. Like,
so,
later at night,
do your
earlier in the
laundry
morning.
at 2 o'clock in the morning.
There you go. It does help out. So, they say as a municipal electric system owned by its citizens and customers, it is contingent upon those same citizens and customers to keep electric rates for themselves and all other customers of the city as low as possible. So be responsible.
Yep.
And, it's just because of these high temperatures right now. It really doesn't have a lot to do with anything other than that.
And if you want to read more depth about that, this article is on the Telegram's website. Pete just got it up there this morning. This came from last night's city council, I guess.
Yes.
So this all this information is on the Telegram website if you want a little bit more detail about it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I assume it'll be in tomorrow's paper too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we have information on the who was appointed to council, or was there someone?
We do. Hold on. Let me
I just thought of that.
Let me look on the Telegram website.
You mentioned the council.
Just give me just a second. I'll find it. I'll read it to you.
And then I have a follow-up to our racehorse story.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
As you can believe that there's a follow-up to a horse running down the highway for a half hour.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. You finding it? He's still looking.
Yeah, I'll find it. Go ahead and tell the horse story. I'll find it here in a second.
So yesterday we had this story of this racehorse in Kentucky that bucked off the jockey in the race and ended up running out of the racetrack park and got onto the freeway, and all these people are videotaping this horse with the silks and the saddle and the whole 9 yards, this racehorse running down the middle of the freeway. And as you can imagine, it totally freaked people out. So, this racehorse, she ran so long that she ran into another county. She ran on the freeway for a half an hour.
God.
Yeah.
Did it say how many miles?
So, they didn't mention how many miles, but they did mention that she ran for half an hour.
Across the county line.
So, it literally took another county sheriff to corral her.
Yeah.
So they ended up, so here's the rest of the story though, and it didn't come out until after our show yesterday, as if that wasn't enough.
Yeah.
So they finally catch her, they check her over. As you can imagine, I mean, a racehorse running down the freeway, you expect that there's going to be all kind of injuries and, she's going to be lame. She stepped on something, twisted something, whatever. Well, they checked her out. Mm-hmm. She checked out fine. She had a few minor lacerations, nothing major. She hadn't hurt herself in any way. Well, they did send an equine ambulance to come get her, which they normally don't do, but they figured that would be the safest way to transport her back to the racetrack park. So, get her back to the park. They put her in the barn, which was kind of a temporary, holding barn for some of these horses. Mm-hmm. And there were 7 horses in there. And are you ready for this? That night, the barn burns down.
Some days, it all just happens at once, doesn't it?
Luckily, all horses were saved out of the barn. So think about her day. So, but she is recovering from some burns.
The next day off.
I mean, my gosh, this horse gets loose, runs 30 miles down the miles per hour, minutes down the freeway, gets caught, takes back to the barn burns down, all in the same day.
Yeah.
You can't make that up.
No, that's an exhausting afternoon.
I thought it was bad enough that she ran down the freeway.
Yeah. And
poor girl.
Came out of it all mostly unscathed.
A few lacerations, a few minor burns. Yeah. That's it. So anyway, that is a follow-up to the story that we thought was completely insane yesterday, but it got more insane. Who would have ever known? So what do you have?
Okay, so here's the information about the city council appointment.
Okay.
The Jackson City Caucus of the Jackson County Republican Party's Central Committee has selected a Harold Newkirk to fill the unexpired term of Jackson's 2nd Ward councilman, the late John Peters.
Okay.
And to be the party's nominee on the November 2nd general election ballot.
Okay. Harold Newkirk.
Harold Newkirk.
Okay. Very good. Glad that they found somebody that was willing to step in and fill in that seat, because some big shoes to fill there.
Yeah. And again, I expect more information to be on the Telegram website soon. And
sure.
I'm probably in tomorrow's paper.
Yeah, we just wanted to make sure that you knew that there was somebody appointed and that they are ready to step in and get to work. So, all right. Well, did you have anything you wanted to talk about?
Oh, no, I can't. Well, we can talk about Spider-Man.
Yeah, let's talk about Spider-Man.
Did you see the Spider-Man trailer?
I did not.
So they finally released the long-awaited trailer to the next Spider-Man movie last night.
I mean, like, how many Spider-Man movies
so
have there been
this will
now?
be the 7th.
Who is Spider-Man?
You asked me to. Tom Holland is his name.
Okay.
And so he's the 3rd actor to play Spider-Man.
Kind of like Batman.
Right. So in this movie, they're doing this whole, like, alternate dimension thing.
Okay.
And so they're bringing back the villains from the first Spider-Man movies. So in this trailer, long-awaited trailer that they released last night, you get your first kind of sneak peek at Willem Dafoe and Alfred Molina, who were the villains in the first 2 Spider-Man movies 20 years ago,
so
coming
it's
back.
Like Back to the Future, but Spider-Man
Sorta.
edition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So nerdy people on the internet were very excited last night. This has been a much anticipated
You were one of them,
happen.
weren't you?
I was. and it had become kind of a joke that, like, they hadn't shown anything from this movie yet, because it comes out at Christmas.
Oh, okay.
So it's relatively soon, and it's, theaters have had a hard go of it the last year and a half, and there's a lot of anticipation that this movie coming out at Christmas and only being in theaters, not having any sort of, like, direct to streaming,
it's going to be on like Donkey Kong.
Is going to be like,
save
sort
the
of
theaters.
Yeah, sort of a restart for theaters in general.
That's so good.
We'll see if that ends up happening. But people have been very excited about this and going crazy that they had not seen anything. They did do several months. So Tom Holland, the actor that plays Spider-Man, has the reputation of they don't like him doing, like, talk shows and stuff like that, because he gets too excited and he, like, spoils the movie. Like, he
tells too much.
Yeah, he tells too much. And so this is, like, a running joke. So, like, I don't know, a few months ago, they released, like, a teaser thing where it's, like, him and the 2 other main cast members are, like, standing outside of the director's office, and he, like, comes out, and the other 2 are like, well, did he tell you anything? He's like, no, he won't tell me anything. And they're like, well, that's because he knows you're going to spoil it. And he's like, I don't really do that. Why does everybody say that I do that? And they're like, dude, you do that all the time.
Because you do that.
So Benedict Cumberbatch is his, like, co-star in this movie. Mm-hmm. And there's
That's a name.
Who played Sherlock.
Okay. Benedict what?
You don't know Benedict Cumberbatch?
No, I can't even pronounce that name.
Okay. So if you're not familiar with Benedict Cumberbatch, it is like an ongoing joke that nobody can say his name right.
I can see why.
So, like, people intentionally, like, spell his name, like, humorously wrong and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Anyway, he played Sherlock on, like, the British.
Okay.
Like, Sherlock. You never watched Sherlock?
No.
How did you miss out on Sherlock? It was, like, such a big thing.
Is it a show or a movie?
Yeah, it's a show. It's a British, like, modern retelling of Sherlock Holmes.
Is it on, like, Netflix?
Probably. I mean, I don't know where it is now.
I'm going to have to watch it.
But, I mean, it was, like, a huge thing, like, I don't know, 10 years ago or so.
Okay.
So it stars him and Martin Freeman. Martin Freeman is Bilbo Baggins in the Hobbit movies. Mm-hmm. So you haven't seen the Hobbit either? Anyway, I'm getting off topic. So, like, when the last Avengers movie came out, where Tom Holland and Benedict Cumberbatch were both in that as well.
Okay.
There's all these, like, interviews and stuff that they did, and Benedict Cumberbatch just like constantly stopping him from saying things. He's like, stop saying that. Like you're not supposed to be talking about that in these interviews. You're just supposed to smile and get your picture taken. You're not supposed to tell them how the movie ends.
Oh no.
And there's this famous like screenshot of him like from the movie where he's just kind of looking like this. And like somebody like tweeted this picture and they're like, Tom Holland looks like he has no idea what's going on here. And then he like retweeted, he's like, that's because they stopped telling me what was going on.
They won't tell me anything. You just act and then forget what you did, please. Thank you.
Yeah. But very exciting.
God. No, that's exciting.
So if you haven't watched that yet, go watch it, especially if you like Alfred Molina or the Tobey Maguire. So the big thing is that fans are anticipating, and they're not they won't say this, but everybody assumes that Tobey Maguire, who was the first actor to play Spider-Man,
right,
and Andrew Garfield, who was the second actor to play Spider-Man, are also going to be in this playing like another version of Spider-Man.
Oh.
So it'll be like 3 Spider-Man like team
in one Spider-Man.
That's what people are sort of anticipating this being. Yep.
That's crazy.
Yep. Which of course not to be confused with the Into the Spider-Verse movie, which came out like 2 or 3 years ago, in which there are also multiple Spider-Man, or the Flash movie in which Michael Keaton is coming back to play an alternate version of Batman.
So that's where I was going. That was where I was going with that next.
There's a lot of this going on right now.
Because I have to admit, I think that original Batman with Michael Keaton and, Jack
Tim
Nicholson.
Burton,
fantastic.
Yeah.
I just don't know that it got any better than that.
No. I mean, I'm a Tim Burton fan, so I enjoy his sort of like weird, Tim Burton-y take on it. Mm-hmm. It's maybe not everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah.
But those 2 are my favorite 2 Batman movies, probably.
Are they?
Yeah.
I just enjoy Michael Keaton as Batman, and I'm glad to know that he's coming, I guess, back in the character.
Yeah, I mean, he was also in one of the recent Spider-Man movies, so he may show up in the Spider-Man movie too.
You are freaking me
I
out.
know. So like this. So we're talking about Sherlock. Like the joke with the BBC was always that like the BBC is like 7 actors and 3 sets, and that's what they use for like
everything.
Show.
Yeah.
And now Hollywood is kind of becoming the same way.
They just rotate people. It's kind of like the Hallmark Movie Network.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have the same 5 actors.
Yeah.
You have 5 girls and 5 boys, and they all
right. But the
intertwine.
thing with Hallmark is it's actually all different people. They just look exactly the same.
Maybe. If it's not Kirk Cameron's sister or Lacey Charbet, or whatever her name is, then it's one of the 3 blonde girls that look exactly like.
Right. Have you ever seen that picture where they've taken all of Nicholas Sparks' like book covers and put them side by side?
No.
They're all identical.
They all look
They're all
exactly
the same.
Oh my God, that's
so
funny.
And Hallmark movies are definitely that.
Pretty much the same.
Yeah, it's just like Mario Lopez and then like some blonde girl.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh. Yep, you're exactly right.
Yep.
Let's see. Oh, so I can't believe this is actually a thing, but I'm going to report on it because I feel like it's our responsibility.
Okay.
Do not get a pen and paper out. It is 9:55 on Tuesday, August 24th. And this is Jen's request for you. You got it?
Yeah, I'm writing it down.
He's writing Tuesday, August 24th.
Okay.
2021.
Okay.
I will not. He's writing it. Go to the Tractor Supply.
All right, go to.
You can write TSC for short.
Okay.
TSC. And buy. He's writing it. Oh wait. Back up. Go to the horse aisle and buy. ivermectin.
Is that an E or an I?
ivermectin. It's very phonetic.
Okay.
To cure me from COVID-19.
Okay, so what is ivermectin?
Ivermectin?
Yeah, ivermectin.
Ivermectin is horse wormer.
I mean, we just had a doctor here. I mean, I know this isn't his specialty, but we could have asked him to clear up whether or not horse dewormer
Let me just tell you.
COVID-19 or not.
It does not, but
Okay.
it will kill you if you eat enough of it. Why on earth? Somehow it got out there that ivermectin either cures or prevents you from getting COVID-19.
Yeah. So, like, here's the thing. Whoever did take this, is probably refusing to get the actual
COVID
shot.
They are literally, states are having to release alerts telling people to not go and buy horse and cattle wormer and take it because it's on the internet somewhere that ivermectin prevents or treats COVID-19. It is horse wormer. It kills the little worms in their bellies because, they eat stuff off the ground and they get worms. That's what ivermectin is for. It is for large animals. Like, my horse that weighs 1,300 pounds.
What if?
No, James.
What if you were a large gentleman?
Are you 1,300 pounds large?
I mean,
I guess it could happen.
Happen. And you eat off the ground. If you're 1,300 pounds and you eat off the ground, maybe it's worth considering. That's all I'm saying. Don't
eat off the ground. Do not go to the Tractor Supply and buy ivermectin. They are saying that people are literally doing this. High doses can be obviously highly toxic to humans, as you can imagine how concentrated this stuff is because it's for 1,300-pound animals. It can give you rash, nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, neurological disorders. Could have talked to our doctor about that.
See?
Severe hepatitis, seizures, coma, and death. None of those sound very good to me.
Nope.
But at least you have to sign your name to that.
Oh, my bad.
Okay. I feel so much better.
Okay.
Because you've sworn.
This is my pledge.
See, you can hold it up so everyone knows that you wrote it out. He really wrote it out. Yeah. It is a thing. Now but the comments are funny. I should have printed them out. They're like, well, the FDA has never said that it doesn't work. And like stuff like that. I'm like.
No one ever asked them to.
Why would anyone ask the
this?
FDA? Because it's for horses and cattle and, large animals. Don't do that. Please. I have used ivermectin since I was like 6 years old to worm horses, and never once did I think about taking it and ingesting it into my own body.
Yeah?
Never.
Well, I never had before today, but I already signed a pledge saying I wouldn't do it, so I can't try it.
See, now you can't go back on your pledge. So you shouldn't write down things before you know what I'm telling you to write.
True. I thought I was just taking notes. I didn't realize I was making a pledge.
Yep, making a pledge.
Okay.
He signed it and everything at 9:55 on Tuesday, August
24th, 2021.
I'm going to frame that, and we're going to hang it up here so that we know that at least James is safe.
Yeah.
No, I can't believe it. I do have to admit, though, that when I was showing horses all the time, I did spray myself with my horse fly spray, and my trainer used to scream at me all the time for that.
Just to keep the flies away from you.
Yeah. I'm like, listen, I've got it
Listen,
about half
I'm out
all
here
over
in
me
this
anyway.
barn.
Yeah, like they're biting the crap out of me. Like, I'm going to spray myself too, but whatever. And I do have an article, and, this doesn't bode well for the Faith Lutheran Church food booth, but, and we'll tell you about this maybe a little more tomorrow. Eating one hot dog, they're saying, a study says, claims 35 minutes off your life. One hot dog. I don't know if I
how
believe
you
that or not.
measure that.
I don't either. Like, did you take twins and feed like one a bunch of hot dogs and one no hot dogs and be like, well, that one died?
Yeah. I see no scenario in which you can like follow the scientific method.
Me either.
Because you have to have like a control.
Like, all you eat is hot dogs for your whole life or something.
Right, but you also have to have somebody else that's exactly like you in every way, except they don't eat hot dogs.
Right, like a twin.
And there's no...
But that doesn't...
Right, but even your twin's not like biologically... Did I say that? Biologically exactly the same as you.
Well, they're not your clone.
Right, you would have... Right, but... I don't even know if a clone is like that.
I know.
Right? So
it's super weird.
So I'm going to keep eating hot dogs is what I'm getting at.
Well, there's some good news and bad news in this article, but we can go over it tomorrow because there are some things that they're saying actually extend your life, like a handful of nuts. So I guess... James and I did talk about this off the show. We decided if you go to the ballpark, it's the safest place ever because you're going to eat the peanuts and you're going to eat the hot dog. So they just counteract each other.
If you have a nut allergy?
Then you're going to die.
Yeah, then just stick with the hot dog.
Don't take ivermectin to try to save yourself either. It's not going to work.
It might.
Yeah.
The FDA's never said that it doesn't work.
That's right. You're not kidding. All right. Well, we do have to get out of here for the day. Thanks for hanging out with me. And, of course, thanks to Dr. Lee for coming in. And, of course, our friend Marla. And, this is a low budget operation. He's got to push the buttons and then run. And the girls, of course, Jen and Marla for bringing him in today. So have a wonderful day, everyone. There's Dr. Lee once again. If you need to schedule an appointment, you can have your physician or you can call yourself 1-855-4-HOLZER. All right. Have a wonderful day, everyone. We appreciate you so much for tuning in, and we'll be right back here tomorrow with some hot dog talk. Bye-bye.